All right, guys, let's go ahead and get this thing started. So I'm going to record this for my own purposes. So just so you know, that's recorded, but it's not posted or anything like that. It's not a live Facebook video or Instagram video or anything. Yeah, I know, right? And the chance that you decide to not attend one of these, because it's mandatory, I'm going to unfortunately have to pull you out of whatever you got going on a Thursday at 3:15, which is usually a game, practice, something that you would much rather be doing. And you'll have to watch the replay video. That's the main reason I'm doing that, okay? All right, so for those of you that don't know me, because I haven't done an actual presentation or meeting with every single sport yet, but I've done it with a lot of them. I'm Coach Raz, used to be the head strength and conditioning coach here for the past 9 years, and for the past 3 or 4 years I've been into athletic director type jobs. What we're doing with this group, with this class, call it class if you want to. I'm calling it a workshop because you don't get class credit for it, but that also means you don't have to pay extra for it. So kind of a give and take there. Is to help you guys out. All right. Is there anyone in here that's not a freshman? Because you're allowed to be in here if you're not a freshman too. That's fine. Just curious. Because I invited anyone that wants to come to this, but mandatory for freshmen. What we're going to talk about today is diving right into the importance of first impressions, the importance of assessing your mindset, with kind of what your expectations are with college. And each week we'll cover some different topics. The first 4 weeks, this week included, we'll have a little bit more of an academic emphasis. After that, we'll get into topics like stress management, financial assistance, so how to understand student loans and debt and making sure you're making the right decisions, how to fill out your FAFSA when that comes around in October. We'll have financial aid come and there'll just be a resource for you to ask questions to. We'll talk about some personal finance things that you can start doing too, even though I doubt anybody's working like a 40-hour-a-week job where they got a steady income coming in. But we'll talk about that kind of stuff. We'll talk about balancing being a student and an athlete. We'll talk about how you can be more involved on campus socially and get involved with student life and student activities. And I hope to have some alumni. If I can't have them here, they're going to send me some videos that I'll play. We have so many alumni that have come through the program here where many of them had a rocky start and have great advice on how they bounced out of that, and they want to prevent people from having a rocky start. A lot of them are very successful at what they do, even 1, 2, 3 years out of college making 6 figures already. Student loans done within 365 days after they graduated, paid back, completely done, buying a house, brand new car. I mean, you name it, they got it going because they had a rocky start and they bounced back from it. The whole purpose of this class is to help you take the right mindset for college. Many of you may already have that. This class is supposed to make you feel offended that you're in here. All right, this is just to cover our bases with every single freshman student athlete that we got. Now there's another class that is going on for class credit. It's called a Fresh Start class or a College Success Skills class. You may have a couple teammates that may be in that's going on right now at 9 o'clock. I think there's an 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock class version of that. They're supposed to be in that instead of this if that's them. So don't worry about them for that. But it's basically the same type of thing, except they have to do that as a requirement to be able to stay in school. So you guys aren't necessarily at that point, but I want to make sure that we stay above it and stay ahead of the game. What we want to do, I want to walk through these questions with you guys today. Typically, we'll take like an hour and just over an hour in each session we have. When we have guest speakers, those will be the times that I don't want to put a restriction on it. We'll do an hour and 15 minutes. So it's blocked off from 9 until 10:15. We won't be taking that long today. We'll take about 30, 45 minutes today. I want to get through the questionnaire stuff. I want to throw you some challenges. And then next week, we'll start diving into the academic emphasis stuff. Okay? We'll make sure you guys are good to go and start talking about study habits, learning styles, professors' teaching styles. How can you start to destroy everything that's coming across your path? Okay? So let's dive right into that questionnaire right off the bat. Okay? So right off the bat, mindset-wise, you know what? I'm going to show a video first because I feel like you guys are still sleeping. So. All right, pay attention. Here we go.
What's stopping you? Are you too tired?
Yeah.
Didn't get enough sleep? Don't have enough energy? Don't have enough time? Is that what's stopping you right now? Don't have enough money? Is that the thing? Or is the thing that's stopping you, you?
Right.
Excuses sound best to the person that's making them up. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Get off the pity potty. Telling everybody your sad and sob stories, trying to get people to show up to your pity potties and your pity parades. If you ever see me in a Rolls Royce, a 6 or 7 star hotel, living my life to the fullest, don't get jealous of me, because I worked my ass off to get it. Nobody handed me nothing. Wake your ass up. Awaken the beast inside. It's game on. It's go season. It's time for you to take advantage of the access and the resources that you have in your country and your community. You got a problem with your life. You got a problem with your environment. Do something about it. If you want it, go get it.
Recognize the excuses are not valid. They're conjured up, they're fabricated, they're lies. And how do you stop the lies? You stop the lies with the truth. And the truth is, you have time. You have the skill, you have the knowledge and the support and the willpower and the discipline to get it done.
The fruit of everything good in life begins with a challenge. Everything is uphill that's required. And it's not going to come to you, and it's not going to fall in your lap, and it's not going to be something that, oh my God, it just was so simple. It's always going to be difficult.
If you want it, you gotta go get it.
This is your chance. This is your shot. This is your moment. This is your time. This is your place. This is your opportunity.
It's my time. It's my moment. Tomorrow. Ain't no such thing as tomorrow. We only got today. It's your dream. If you want to have it, you start one up and make it happen. And if you want to have it, ride and ride. You still got work to do. Stay on that basketball court. Stay on that football field. It's blind season.
Sorry if language offended you there. I know there's a couple curse words there.
Don't have enough.
All right, I don't know if you're one for motivational videos. Anybody know who some of those people were talking? Eric Thomas, E.T., the hip hop preacher, right? Who else? Yeah, Tyrese. Who else? Kyrie? This wasn't Kyrie. He might say some of those things though. It's not really important who was on it. I would encourage you guys, if you struggle with motivation, music, videos can really help you or hurt you. Your choice. That's gonna, it's a mindset thing, right? We're diving into the psychological stuff here. Right off the bat, why did you choose to come to college at Weber? We're gonna go one question at a time. I'm not gonna ask for your answers out loud. This is all, you're gonna write it down and then I'm gonna ask for those papers back at the end. Okay? If you already answered it, just be patient. Let everybody catch up. Why did you come to college at Weber? Specifically, why Weber? Not why did you come to college necessarily, but why Weber? Okay, was it just your sport? Was it convenient location? Highest scholarship offer? Only scholarship offer? Chance to play the sport you love? Academics? Job placement rates? Whatever it was, don't put it down just because I said it. Put down stuff that's right for you. The biggest thing for me in this stuff is that you guys are honest. This isn't a class where you're going to get a grade. I need real honesty in here. I need you guys to be real with me. I can't help you if you can't be real. Okay, next one down. Keep writing if you're still on it. What do you expect to get out of your college experience at Weber? The entire one. So by the time you graduate, what do you hope to say that you've gained, that you've gotten equipped? Specific to your entire college experience. So when you visualized college growing up, what did you hope for it to be? Socially, academically, athletically? Stress-wise, I mean, how did you think it was? In your mindset, what are you expecting to get out of these? Hopefully 4 years, maybe 5 or 6. I personally was on the 5-year plan myself for my undergrad degree. Changed majors 3 times. So, nothing wrong with that. Don't go to school for 8 years though, unless you're gonna be a doctor. Don't do that for your bachelor's. I'm gonna keep going through this, but if you're still writing on a question, I don't want you to stop. Stay on. You'll be all right. And then if we dismiss and you're still writing, that's fine. I got 2 hours in here where you don't have to leave necessarily. Don't get scared. You don't have to stay for 2 hours. Oh, you guys get so scared sometimes. All right. What would success look like freshman semester? Just your fall semester of your freshman year. So this semester right now, you've already started. What would it look like? What is success for you first? Is it obtaining something? Is it the way you feel? Is it what you gain? Is it what you give? You got to really think about that first. What does it look like for you? And look into those 3 areas too. Socially, athletically, academically. What's success look like for you? Is it damage control? I hope I don't get kicked out my first semester. Playing not to lose. We all know where that gets you. But some of you might be at that point. Might be survival mode, damage control mode, stressed out already, unknown, unprepared. That's what I want to help with though. Hopefully you guys link up with each other too. The next one's not as much of a write your answer one, it's just a circle, okay? So you'll see on there different things, not prepared, somewhat not prepared, somewhat prepared, and very prepared. So it's a grading scale. Academics in the classroom, how prepared do you feel? Do you feel like you're going to crush things, it's going to be a walk in the park? Not that you could skip all the classes, never do your homework and make A's. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about whatever challenges are thrown at you, you feel very confident you can handle it with what you already have. I feel like I'm going to crush whatever's coming at me. Athletically, same type of thing. You feel like you're going to be highly competitive compared to other freshmen and compared to other upperclassmen, because now you're battling for starting spots for people that have been here for a few years, right? It has a lot to do with your abilities, your confidence, your beliefs, obviously, but it's also being realistic too. And then socially, I know that's kind of a weird one to grade, but basically how you feel. Do you feel like your social experience, do you feel like you're the kind of person that is more shy and withdrawn, and new people, new environment, getting outside your sport, getting outside of the major of your classroom, kind of freaks you out? It's a big part of college, especially here. We represent over 40 different countries with students that are here. So you get a pretty diverse experience compared to a lot of other schools. That's pretty crazy. Okay, I'm assuming you circle a lot faster than you write, so we're going to jump down. What do you want for your life? This is another real forward-thinking thing. Maybe you have dreams and visions of things that you want to do, but specifically 1 year after graduating. So you graduated first week of May, 4 years from now. You just walked, you got your diploma, or you just realized that the folder they give you at graduation doesn't have a diploma in it, that they actually mail it to you. Right. So don't freak out. Remember that in 4 years. So what happens next? You get a job right away? 1 year in, are you already loans paid for? Right. You're married with 10 kids? Whoa, pump the brakes, easy now. Don't you put that on me. You want to be playing professionally? Don't put a cap on any of this stuff. Think about this now. Don't just breeze through that. Think about it. I put on there work, family, finances. What do you want to be doing? Where do you want to be at? Location-wise. Same thing at the 5-year mark. like that video said, a lot of times we're not limited by what we're capable of doing. We're limited by what we think we're capable of doing. My biggest hope is that we can take the blinders off and you guys can crush every area of your life confidently. Keep thinking. You're 1, you're 5. Take your time on this. Don't get anxious. Don't get antsy. 15 minutes, we're going to be out of here. Take your time on this. Think about it. If you're done with the front, go ahead and flip it over. Don't leave it blank though. If you can't think of something right now, I need you to go back to it at least. Okay? This is important for me. I'm not going to hold you to it and follow you 5 years after you graduate, okay? Just want to see what your thoughts are. If you already flipped the page over, you'll see the next few are not write-in ones necessarily. They're real simple ones. So at the top of the back, what do you anticipate your GPA to be just at the end of the semester? 4.0 scale, not a weighted scale. 4.0 scale. 4.0 is as high as it can be. We'll be putting above 4.0. I like that confidence. And the next one's kind of a gauge there. Whatever you put for that, is that higher or lower than you got in high school? You guys already did the back too, huh? Yeah. Destroyed it. So if your high school GPA was 2.5 and you put 3.0, you're obviously expecting to have a higher one here. So circle higher. Pretty common sense. I'm curious, how many of you, just by a show of hands, stay with me now, stay with me. How many of you guys put higher GPA than you made in high school? Raise your hand, Rob. Okay, just curious. You didn't have to. I'm curious. How many of you guys expect that it's going to be tougher in college than it was in high school, or do you think it's going to be easier? Tougher, raise your hand. You think it's going to be tougher? How many of you guys think that because of how hard you worked in high school or how tough your high school was, this is going to be a breeze, a walk in the park in college? Yeah? Yeah? Okay, you're the guys I'm sitting next to if I'm in class. Until that first test and you bomb it, and I realized you weren't telling the truth. Next one, when you graduate, are you going to be a first-generation college graduate? So neither one of your parents actually graduated. I'm a first-generation college grad. My parents went to junior college, met each other, dropped out. Nice. That's why I'm here. So they didn't graduate. So I'm a first-generation graduate. My brother and my sister too. So if you graduate, will you be a first generation? So you or your siblings, but your parents didn't graduate from college. Next ones are some write-ins again. Okay, identity. This is important. This is very important for me. What would you say is your identity at this point in your life? Who are you? I am blank. Most of you are going to identify yourself as what? A human being. Okay. Okay, that's very zoomed out. All right. What else? An athlete. In college. That's your phase of life that you're in. Okay. I'm assuming everyone in this room is somewhere between 16 years old and 25 years old. That's the typical college age. Hopefully no one's 16 in here, but you might be. I know, right? Really smart. Is anybody 16 that graduated that early? Are you really? I'm just kidding. That's impressive. That's dual enrollment to homeschool dual enrollment. That's crazy. That's awesome. But that's the age group, so that kind of defines part of your identity. Stick with me, guys. I want to stay on this identity one because I feel like this is the toughest one to answer. Because you don't really have to answer that usually. You don't usually have to put it into words. Who am I? I am blank. Fill in the blank. I'll throw another curveball at you. Right now, in this moment. Listen to me. Listen. In this moment, if your sport ended and we canceled athletics here and you stayed here, that won't happen. But hypothetically, we canceled athletics and you stayed here as a student, how would you define yourself outside of a college student? Because most of you are defined by your sport. A lot of you, I'm willing to bet, wouldn't be here if it weren't for being able to play your sport. If the sport disappeared, I'm willing to bet that you wouldn't be here.
You're right.
And you wouldn't be alone in that decision. I've been here 10 years, and I'd say it's like 85% of the people that come through athletics here, that's their main reason. They want to play sport. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But you have to be able to get past that with your identity of who you are and what you're capable of doing. Because at some point, like it or not, and you probably heard this, at some point that sport's going to disappear. At that point, you'll be a little more mature than what you are right now. But you'll also have a chance of other things happening, being ineligible. People get ineligible, they get depressed. Some of you may be ineligible in here, and you have to sit out your first year. You can still practice with the team, but you can't play the games. Or you get injured, unfortunately, and you have to sit out. And depression seeks in there. Mostly because you can't do what you love, but you also feel like you're not who you were. And that changes things. So be thinking about that kind of stuff. Next one. What makes you unique or special? Whatever word you want to use. Some people get offended with the word special, so I put unique. What makes you unique? How are you different than the person sitting next to you? How are you unique? What's something specific about you? Don't be afraid to brag on yourself with that one and the next one. You can be goofy with it if you want to. I don't care. What makes you unique? What makes you who you are? But if you don't think about it, if you've never thought about it, usually two main things have shaped you at this point. Even if you disagree with it. I don't care if you agree with it or not. Usually two things have shaped you, made you who you are up to this point. One is your genetic makeup, your DNA, your heritage, that you have no control over. And the other one you have very little control over as well. That's the experiences that you've had to go through. Good and bad. That's shaped what's unique about you. That's the person that I'm looking at right now. A combination of those. They call it nature versus nurture, right? You may have heard that. Nature, what's natural, the DNA, who you are. And then nurture, what's happened to you. I know I told you guys it was going to be deep on some of these, but stay with me. The next one, what talents do you have? Can you brag on yourself a little bit here for me? What are you naturally gifted at? What are you skilled at? What are you talented at? I can text really, really fast. That's your talent. Put it down. I can listen and text and listen with one ear to music. I can listen to music in this ear, Coach Raz in this ear, text, and then write at the same time. I see some girls over here doing it, so I know they can do it. Skills. Could be in the sport. And that brings us to our last one here. Listen. Listen to me now. Don't give me blank answers on these. Give me something. On this last one. This is big because a big part of our core values here at Weber is servant leadership. And not just taking and not just looking at me and what I get out of things, but how can I contribute? How can I give? How can I make the people around me better? I promise you, if you want to be a leader on your team, if you want to be a leader at any point in your life, you will always be limited by how much you're willing to contribute and how much you're able to contribute. So many people get caught up in pride and entitlement. I am too. I get the same way. I get limited by those things. How are you contributing to people around you? How are you serving people around you? How are you making them better? Think about that. And then what's your legacy? What's your message? So if you passed away, heaven forbid, what would people say you lived for, that you stood for? Maybe the people around here may not know you well enough to see that yet, but people closest to you, what legacy have you left on to them in terms of them and their lives intersecting with yours and their change because of it? Because that happens, whether you like it or not. You've impacted a lot of people already to this point. How many of you are older siblings right now? You have a younger sibling. You know that role then. You know the power of that. As freshmen, you may not be that stance this particular year, but this time next year, there will be a group of people in your shoes right now that are going to follow anything you do. And the cycle continues. If you didn't answer any of the questions, go back through it. We're not done yet. I'm going to take 5 minutes to give you guys a quick crash course on making sure you're not crashing and burning in your classroom already. It's already been 10 days. Some of you have already screwed up your first impressions, but we can fix that still. After you're done, stack them all in one stack, not on top of the blank ones. I don't care who's on the top, bottom. Do not stack them on top of the blank ones. Put the pencils on top of the blank forms. Put the pencils on top of the blank forms for me. And then you can just leave the stack on the table. I'll grab it with you. All right. Stay with me now, everybody. First impressions. Body language means everything. Everybody freeze. Don't move. Don't even look at me. Freeze. 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 Everybody freeze. Freeze. Do not look. Do not turn around if your back's to me. Freeze. All right. You're not freezing. You're swiping. It's on. I have high attention to detail. Unfreeze. Go ahead. Unfreeze. If your back is to whoever's talking, that's disrespect. That's a universal sign of disrespect, by the way. By the way, none of these things I'm taking personal, but this is a call out. Headphones in the ears. Huge disrespect. You don't have enough focus to pay attention. You don't care. You don't care about anything I say.
That's not true.
I hope not, because it would hurt my feelings, but it doesn't today.
Oh, right.
But that's what the professors are going to think. That's what anybody in human nature is going to think. Looking at the phone and not paying attention, same thing. I don't mean to call you out constantly, but you're doing a lot of it, right? Everybody, if you have your phone out, every generation that has someone in it that's 35 years or older looks at that as disrespect. How many professors here are under 35 years old, do you think?
None.
Actually, there's like 4. Okay? Just having your phone out. Guys, look at me. A lot of the professors have stereotypes because of people that came through before you. Women's basketball, right? However women's basketball was last year and the year before and the year before, you've inherited that. They think that about you. Doesn't matter. That's natural. That's what people do. Men's basketball, same thing. Women's soccer, same thing. Some more men's basketball, some golf, some bowling. Whatever you had as your reputation for your sport, you've inherited a part of that. That may not be you. It may not be a good thing. Maybe a really good thing. They inherited something that you outkicked your coverage. Yawning, that's a great one right there. That means I'm boring and that you're ready to be out of here, or you didn't have enough caffeine, or you didn't sleep. Or it's just a natural response neurologically to try to excite your nervous system to wake up. Your body does that. You do it a lot in training. You ever notice yourself yawning in the weight room? I made a rule when I was strength and conditioning coach. If I ever saw someone yawning, they had to stop and do 20 push-ups right there. Right there. You don't have to do that. I want to do that in here, though. I want to make that rule. Hoodies on. So it's a perception. Slouched. Not sitting up straight. That's a perception. How many of you guys have lost eye contact with me just in the 5 minutes I've been talking up here since you stopped the survey? I'm talking still, right?
Yes.
Arms crossed.
Because I'm cold.
Either you're cold or you're shut down. Closed off. Closed off. Okay? At least you covered it up. That's respectful. Thank you. Look, I'm not judging anybody in here. And this is kind of a fun environment in here. But understand something. You come in and sit down like this in the chair, and I know Coach Corbin talked to you guys about it already, probably, right? This is how you come into the classroom, and you got your headphones on, and you pay no attention when that professor goes. The professors, some of them won't address that. That doesn't mean you can continue to do it. Our standard, what we want to challenge you guys with is, when you're in there, be in there. Now, you had emergencies and stuff like that, have your phone out. when you're in the classroom, lock in to be in the classroom. What you're going to end up realizing is if you can capitalize on the time that you're already putting in the classroom, but actually make it count, you can't just clock in and think that stuff's getting done. That doesn't happen. Okay? If you capitalize on stuff, you don't have to spend extra hours afterwards. You can do what you want to do afterwards if you capitalize on this. But if you don't, and you try to do what you want to do during class, you're going to have to still spend extra hours at some point. And if you don't, you'll be meeting with me at the end of the semester because you're about to be kicked out of school. And you just wasted, how much money did it cost to come here? Hopefully, maybe you guys are in a position where that's pocket change, where you can throw out 5 figures with no joke. I need to talk to you at the end of the semester anyways, because I got a house payment that's catching up to me. But seriously, here's the problem, and this is what I'm going to end it. This is what I'm going to end it, okay? You're going to forget some of this stuff. You're going to not care about some of this stuff. That doesn't offend. I'm trying to help you guys. That doesn't offend, okay? Because ultimately, you're the one that's going to have to live up to that. I just don't want to see you guys go through the same headaches that I see people go through every single year. Make a good first impression with your professors. How many of you have shaken their hands? Yeah? They won't remember your names necessarily right off the bat, but you're already having, they'll remember faces, they'll remember impressions. And if it's a negative or positive, it's tough to overcome that, but you still can. We're still in that impressionable mode here these first few weeks. Okay? But here's the deal. Here's where people struggle the most in college. You ready? This is it. This is the, if people could get this. You don't have an immediate consequence. For the first time, for a lot of people, you can do whatever you want, and there's nothing that's going to happen that day. Whether it was good or bad choices. And the next day. And the next day. And the next day. That started to happen in high school already. And the next day. As soon as you got a vehicle and you had independence, that started to happen. College takes it to the extreme. We're not going to follow you around. We're not going to police you. You're grown. You're trying to figure life out, but you're grown. And this is where it catches up to people. It's not an immediate effect. It's not the Pinocchio effect. All right, Pinocchio is a really, really old cartoon. Every time Pinocchio told a lie, his nose immediately grew longer. How many of us would lie if that were true? An immediate consequence that was public. How many of us would do that? That's not how life is, though. It's a cartoon. We have what's more classified as the law of the harvest, not the law of Pinocchio. The law of the harvest, farmer plants a seed, he can water that thing 40 days straight, he doesn't see a thing. No consequence, no reward, nothing. And then all of a sudden, growth happens. And he can reap the benefits 12 months later. But he had to put in work every day, but he didn't see anything from it. How many of you guys are going to screw up stuff in class and not feel any repercussion from it because your grade doesn't show? And even if it does, you can fail the entire semester and nothing's going to change. Nothing can happen to you. You may be fine. But then it happens, and there's nothing you can do about it. I don't want to see that happen to you guys. You have to put something in place where immediate things can happen, okay? Just think about that. We are the type of people, human nature, we will procrastinate until that deadline hits. And then what happens? We start getting into a mode that you didn't even know you could get to. And you knock out a project in like 4 hours in the middle of the night, between midnight and 4 a.m., and it's half decent. You got a D or a C on it, but you still completed it, you knocked it out. Can you make yourself do that a week ahead of time, crush it, do the same 4-hour thing, create your own deadline for it, if that's it, if you have to still have a deadline, and then that next week, tune it up a little bit. Put 15 more minutes into it at some point that next week. Turn it from a D to a B. Just the 15 minutes because you did it a week ahead of time. Same concept, same cramming, same issues, same struggles. You just did it earlier. Planning, okay? We'll talk about that more in the next few weeks. Okay, that's all we got today. I don't like doing a lot of talking because then you start to lose me. Thank you guys for staying with me. Have a good Wednesday. We'll be back here at 9 a.m. next Wednesday. Do me a favor next week. Bring anything that you have as a personal planner, a time management thing, organizer, whatever you have. If you have one. If you don't, that's fine too. Thank you. Nice handshake. Bad eye contact during the handshake, but nice handshake. What's up? Okay. I think you need to go to